Today's video was sponsored by Simple Health. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is something a little bit different, and I think it's going to be a pretty fun and good time. Before we get started, I just want to put a little bit of a content warning out that in this video we're going to be discussing menstruation and trans and non-binary issues and a little bit of gender dysphoria. So just as a little bit of a heads up, if that might be a sensitive topic for you, let you know now so you can click away before we get into anything. All right, folks. I don't know how to get started. So today's video, we're going to be rebranding some tampons. Why? I think that we could kind of reposition how they look quite a bit so they are A, little bit more inclusive, and B, we could be kind of challenging why they have to be so overtly feminine because they're just tampons at the end of the day. So all of this came from recently in October of 2019, Always announced that they're going to be removing the Venus symbol from their packaging, and some people were really excited about this, some people were for some reason very upset about this, and I wanted to kind of tag along that note. Obviously, some people were upset about Always removing this Venus symbol from their packaging, and my biggest takeaway from that is removing that from packaging isn't erasing women, it isn't taking any power away from women. It is A, a little bit more inclusive, and B, things really just don't have to be that feminine. We're still gonna buy them. We never really ask why. Like, why are things the way they are in the first place? Why do tampons need to be a pink box? And I know not all brands are like this, but Playtex has these bright pink boxes, but why do they have to be like that? And there are two things I want to mention. There are these wonderful slash not wonderful women called TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists, who don't really see themselves as allies to the trans community but still claim to be feminists but not be feminists for trans women and be very exclusionary to their rights and their equality. And then there are people like Blair White who tweet atrocities like this while, despite being trans, completely erasing the voice of trans people and being completely ignorant of a lot of the issues that trans folk face. So there's that, leaving it at that. So the biggest parallel that I want to draw to you guys, so it's a little bit more easy to understand. The majority of people who are buying tampons are cis women. That's their main demo, but a part of their demo is also trans men who menstruate. Even though they could be on hormones, you can still very easily get your period, and that can be very troubling for people who might be struggling. It might be very difficult to deal with having your period because, oh, it's like, hey, by the way, this is still unfortunately part of your body and you have to deal with it. So if I were a trans man, I wouldn't see this necessarily as not necessarily the most inclusive, but why does this packaging have to be like this? Because at the end of the day, it is a product for people who have periods. Yeah, that's it. So long story short, my goal with this packaging and rebranding project is to reposition Playtex to be not necessarily more inclusive, but to challenge why we have to have it be so overtly feminine in the first place. And the way I like to explain this to people, for people who might be starting to get a little bit upset going down into my comments about the tampons empower women, think of it like this. You are on the other side of a camera. So I'm looking through the camera lens and I see you. You are maybe a cis woman and you have your period. Now what I'm doing is just zooming out a little bit more and including those around you who might also get their period. It might not be exactly like you. So you're not going anywhere, women. Woohoo, women, but also we need to be woohoo, trans, and also non-binary folk. That's why I'm here. So another quick thing, tampons have a primary demo. The thing that always bothered me about tampons and something that I think we should be challenging this whole video is, why does this have to be so overtly feminine when your target demo is pretty narrow? There is no male parallel to tampons. You know who is buying these. You know generally the demo. So think of it like soap. Soap has more masculine soap, there's some neutral soap, and then there's also some more feminine soap. But there isn't something like that for tampons. So why does it have to be so feminine? You're not necessarily trying to sell this to women, try to get women to buy your product, is they have to buy this regardless. There's no choice in it. And I understand, yes, some people use pads, some people use menstrual cups. The same principle applies generally across all of these. They're all generally pretty feminine-based products, but they don't have to be. And there's a few companies videos that do a pretty good job at being a little bit more neutral. And when I say neutral, I mean they kind of challenge the over femininity of these hygiene products, and they go with something that might just be a little bit more palatable for more people. Because like, I am not a super feminine woman. I understand that I pass as one sometimes, but it just doesn't, I don't relate to this like very feminine figure running on the front. I don't need like these women with these long ponytails playing tennis. I have a ponytail in today. That's not really helping my argument, but I don't need this to buy it. I know I have to buy these because that's what my body does. So I don't need these over feminine symbols to buy these because I don't have a choice. So that's where this video is going. So I know that was a lot to handle. If you have any questions about anything that I may have already mentioned in this video, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram if you want to talk about it some more. I'm doing my best to be the best ally I can to the trans and non-binary community. I want to make sure that I challenge things like this and we can have a good conversation about why things are the way they are. And also, if you're a man going down in my comments, if you're a cis man going down in my comments talking about how this does something to your ego or something to, I don't even know why you could possibly be offended to get down in my comments, but don't. I don't invite it. This is a discussion for people to have about awareness and inclusivity and challenging traditional thought. So let's get started. All right, so right out the gate, I want to completely modernize and minimalize everything that's going on this box. There's a lot to digest here. There's like the main logo up here. There's this really weird like swash through the middle, and then they have like this like lady running because this is their sport sub-brand, and then we have all the text leading down, so we have unscented, and then we go down to the sizing. This is just the regular one I buy when I need them. So those are all of the elements I'm going to keep. I'm still going to keep the logo. I'm still going to keep the sport, so it's like you're breaking it down into the main brand, and then you're breaking it down to the sub-brand, so it could be the sport versus the regular, and then we're going into unscented versus scented because for some reason we make scented tampons, and then we break it down into sizing. So those are all of the elements I'm going to keep, just like that's important copy to have for packaging. That's your hierarchy of communication essentially to the customer, so they know what they're buying. And pretty much everything else, I might keep like this 360 protection as a little like flavor bubble on the side, and I want to do some stuff for like the side of the box. I don't know if I'll do a back, but I just want to kind of cover like some ground on this rebrand. Now, if I'm looking here, this is the mood board that I put together that I feel is not overtly feminine. I think it's much more neutral. It's more friendly. There's some elements in here that are bright colors. I want this to be happy, and most importantly, and if you've ever had a period, I think the number one feeling that you want to feel is like clean and relieved. You want to feel comforted because it's rough, and I get that. And so I want my biggest thing is it being clean. And so I think that's something that across all spectrums we all like. And so I want it to be bright and inviting. I want to have some really cool, heavy text that can draw in some younger crowds who might, be buying tampons for the first time without being childish. So bright colors, clean text, very minimal iconography and illustrations, but I want this to speak with the general layout and also color of what this is trying to communicate, which is just a clean, bright, inviting brand that is inclusive and challenges traditional feminine thought. Am I trying to make this masculine? No. Am I trying to make this specifically neutral? No. But I'm just trying to take away the over feminine symbols of what makes a tampon box. Okay, so I like the minimalness of all of these. I love these overlapping colors. I want some really bright, heavy text. I like this minimal iconography here, and this is the general color palette. One thing I do want to stay away from, I know there's a lot of red in this mood board, but I want to generally stay away from red as my main or secondary color. I think it's definitely more of a tertiary color because we all know why we don't want red. So let's dive into this. So I already have a font in mind that I want to use for my general logo, and I'm not going to spend too much time on getting this logo perfect because I have a whole box to design. I'm trying to make this short and sweet. So let's actually save this out. Tampons, cool. So I have this, and a font that I recently acquired is called Champion. There we go. I love this. And looking through like the history of a lot of feminine hygiene products is I feel they got more feminine with time. I feel like things used to be a lot simpler, a lot cleaner, and then like within the past like 15 years, things became like whatever this weird trend is in packaging with like, it's dying out now because thankfully more people are rebranding these companies. But I think Playtex is one that is yet to catch up. So this font is called Champion HTF Heavyweight. So I'm just gonna duplicate this. No, I don't wanna do that yet. I'm gonna fix my kerning. I'm gonna pull it together a little bit more. And I think the key with good kerning is eyeballing it. I'm not one for specific numbers. I like letters to tuck together the way they feel natural. That one's fine. Let's pull this in. Cool. I think there are definitely a lot of elements here that I can play with. So this is with no adjustment. This is with some light little kerning. And now I'm just going to hit Command-Shift-O to outline. And here's where I'm going to start to play with a little bit. So I'm going to ungroup. And I'm going to pull this T a little bit closer. And I think it'd be cool if I could just get these to like merge a little bit. Still leave some space in there. Also, guys, I think my computer is nearing its deathbed. It's had some tough times recently. Just gonna merge those. Maybe I won't merge it quite yet. You know, I don't hate it like that. So let's pull these guys in. All right, let's merge that. I am into that. And then I need like this secondary line for sports. So let's play around. Maybe that'll be capitalized. I think I want to have something italicized because I think that'll help communicate the movement of a sport. I think something like that's pretty cool. I mean, maybe it could be a little bit of a lighter weight. Okay, I'm okay with that for now. So I'm gonna take these color palettes, drop it in here. I'm gonna start playing around with like generally what color I wanna use for my logo lockup. So I'm really into this blue because I think blue is a very calming and soft and approachable color, and also everyone loves the color blue. And I'm just gonna lock that, play around with this being in the, you know what? Going in RGB. Sorry guys. All right, so one thing that I did want to play with were these shapes that they have on the front of the box, which are these like kind of like movement lines. I think I could do a similar approach on just the whole front of the box in general. Let me measure this real quick. All right, so the front of this art is 6 by 5.5. So I'm gonna make a box that's 6 by 5.5. That seems so square. Crazy. So that's the general format that I have to be working within to match these guys. So I think like a few things would be cool, like playing with the placement of the logo. Like, could it be tilted on its side? All right, so I'm just gonna erase a chunk of that so I have like a bit of a little bit of a shape to work with here. And that yellow, what that look like? Nope, hate that yellow. Not keeping this red, but it's just there as a placeholder. Kind of into this like semi-modern approach we got going on here. I really like that blue. Let's go grab that blue. Maybe I could incorporate this in a better way. Maybe we play with a gradient here. Oh, I really like that. That's nice and calming. Feels clean. What if I... Whoop, not what I meant. No, that looks cheesy. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. Let's find a way to incorporate sport back in here. I wonder what it would look like if I extended this all the way. Maybe what if I didn't extend it all the way, but I extended it a good amount of the way? Yeah. think it'd be cool if that swash kind of landed right up with that X. All right, so I changed it up from these little shapes to something a little bit more abstract. I think this would, communicate a little bit better on packaging as like, instead of it being so retro looking like your mom's leotard from the 80s, and break up a little bit more. Since this is the sport one, maybe this could be like some mountains just to show some movement going on in here. So let's bring this logo to the front. And now I'm gonna actually divvy these up into little sections. So I'm just gonna boop, boop. Okay, I wonder what this would look like if I did my classic, pull it in a little tiny bit to round it out. You know what? I don't hate that. We're keeping it. So ultimately I want to emphasize the fun because it's like Playtex, play, having a good time. I wonder if I could pull in kind of like a yaki color. Maybe a lighter orange would be nice. A little National Park-esque if you ask me. That's what I got going on here. Maybe I bring in like a really light purple, like a lavender or something soft and clean. I'm into that so far. The only concern I have is this logo. I don't want it to get lost. Maybe I make that. Guys, into this. I think changing these shapes up really helped. I tuck that down. It doesn't hide the logo so much. All right, so now I gotta add back in the text. Splurt. I don't know why did I say it like that? What does this look like in all caps? I mean, I don't hate that at all. I can keep it tucked in right there. Maybe scale it. Gus, are you okay? Gus fell. All right, cool. Ooh, like that. Maybe now that I rounded out these corners, I could actually go into this one specific corner and pull it all the way in like that. Just kidding, I still hate it. What about down here? All right. We're doing great, guys. So glad I moved away from that. I think adding this purple was a really nice touch. I think sticking generally with like colors that are really natural, that go together organically in nature is always a good idea too. Yeah, you know what? I think I want to leave that uncurled. I want it to be just about like that so it matches the other corners. Yeah, I think that's the route. I don't want it to look too cheesy. Okay, so we have this general locket for the front of the box. So our next move is adding, I think a cool icon for the 360 protection would be good. And I also want to get into the scented, non-scented, and then like the sizing copy that we can start tucking in here. And honestly, I might try to tuck this text into these shapes. But also I'm very open to not doing that at all. So on the packaging, they have under sport, protection for bodies in motion. I like that. So protection for bodies in motion. Keep that in there because I don't mind it. Maybe we do something cool. We tuck it in right here. So I'm just gonna take my pen tool, and kind of like loosely trace this to get a path going. There it is. Copy this, hover over and paste. I'm gonna scale this down, not that small. I I do think this should be a lighter color like that, so it's easy to read. Maybe we scale this up a little bit more so these work together a bit better. What if I added like little speed lines? Would that look dumb? You know, like something like that. Yeah, maybe it is pretty dumb. Okay, let's keep it clean. Moving on.
Let me see that smile.
All right, so I like this way the orange kind of draws your attention right to the sizing. I want to do something like this, but I'm afraid it just might not be super readable. I do enjoy it a lot though. I'm trying to think what I could put over here. What would be cool? Maybe literally nothing. What about this over here? Ooh, okay. Maybe. I mean, this kind of doesn't make sense now over there. I think I need to have a conversation with what's going on here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I think I need to bring the asterisk back. Let me save. We're saving. All right, guys, so I moved this over here, and I think what I want to do is maybe make this a little bit less of a bump so I don't have this awkward space right here. So in case I don't like it, I'm just gonna make a duplicate of that guy. And also I flipped my colors around a little bit and got rid of the blue at the bottom and switched it to white. So I think right now I'm going to just knock this out. You know, I think it goes back to kind of like how it was looking with the leotard earlier. If I keep it too simple, maybe I make this just a little bit less dramatic. Yeah, okay, that did a lot. Maybe I raise this one up. I think the biggest thing in design that you can take away really from any of my videos is that at the end of the day, what makes like good design good, I'm not saying that like mine is inherently good, but the key is it has to look like it's intentional and like it's supposed to be there versus like just something that you settled on or just kind of like it's just there. It doesn't really have a purpose per se. So that's like I think the biggest thing. I had a teacher in high school who taught me that, and I will never forget it, and it helps me, you know, to this day. Things have to look like they make sense, like they're supposed to be there. Live with intention.
Let me see that smile.
So the last thing that I'm gonna add is the 360 protection thing that they have on there. I don't really know how I'm gonna do that, so I think I could create a cool little illustration with some cool arrows. Yeah, without having to put like the tampon itself on there. So if I see if I can draw this off the bat, I probably won't be able to. Nailed it. My dudes, check this stellar arrow out. Oh man. I might have to go to Google for this. Isn't there an arrow tool in here somewhere? Is that in Photoshop? Let's see, it's Photoshop. See, okay, this is what I was talking about, you guys. This is pixel pushing. I'm getting antsy and impatient because I'm trying to follow this semi-grid. So I feel like I need something here, but maybe I don't. Maybe I don't need anything at all. And just leave it be. Alright guys, for the last part, I want to design just one like side panel and what the top of the box could look like. I'm just going to pull that down. It's going to draw out pretty much like top of the box right there. So what I want to do on the side of the box is continue that blue. And what I want to do is, since tampons just sit in the box like this, I want to create these cool little illustrations of them, just kind of like all hanging out in the box. They almost look like little piano keys. So I'm gonna select these and then go to my align and then the vertical align like that. And I'm gonna redraw each of these strings so they're all different. Awesome, loving that. Cool. Are the strings too weird? Do they look like little worms? Actually, you know what? They kind of look like worms. That's not, no worms. No worms. Goodbye. Goodbye, worms. Now I feel like maybe we could get away with disconnecting those. All right, so for the side of the box, I'm just gonna grab this logo again, scale it down, twist it sideways. So I'm gonna do this whole lockup. So grabbing this whole thing, not like that, duplicating it, switch it out to blue, make sure that is outlined, grouped, turn it on its side. And then we're gonna tuck it right here on the side like that. So if you saw the side of the packaging, you'd still know what brand it was. And then for the top, I think I'd keep the top of the box blue. I don't know, maybe orange might be kind of fun. Let's scale this down. You want your logo on every side of your box, just so there's never any confusion. It's in the top corner, so you view it like that. Taking the same lockup from on front, popping it up there, and maybe I will do a little all right, I am feeling good. Loving this. Okay, so I downloaded a mockup from Mockup World. It's not the exact one I wanted. The one that I wanted wasn't actually showing up for some dumb reason. We're just gonna wing this. I'll link this one in the description box below if you want to use it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is save this out into my actual folder. So let's ungroup this, see what we are dealing with. It's a bit longer than I would like, so maybe I just do 3. I could just mask this and then make that bigger. Problem solving, y'all. Ah, perfect. I love that. Okay, and then I need something for the bottom here. I'm gonna open up this. I'm gonna paste that UPC code. Get rid of that. UPC codes are not always on the bottom. There's a lot of like warnings on the bottom that I'm not gonna bother adding because it's not really worth my time. Ah, look at that. That's adorable. I wouldn't say adorable, but you get the picture. I love that. I'm really happy with that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mock up the rest of these and I will show you guys the end product.
Let me see that smile.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It was a lot of fun to do. I had a great time repackaging and rebranding Playtex. I think the approach I took was generally pretty strong, and it kind of goes to show that you can still have effective packaging and marketing without having it be overtly feminine. There were no feminine symbols used whatsoever, only shapes and a really soft and approachable color palette. There's no silhouette of women anywhere on it. There are no like female symbols or anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed enjoyed watching this. I hope you learned something. And last but not least, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, which is Simple Health. On the topic of menstruation comes the topic of birth control. Simple Health is a wonderful online platform to help close the gap between women and non-binary folk, and also anyone who has a period. Close that gap between you and your accessibility for getting birth control. Simple Health offers affordable and accessible birth control that you order online through a prescription with communicating with a cool doctor, and they send birth control straight to your door based on your needs. You fill out your profile, you go through everything that you're looking for in birth control, and then they send it right on over after you get a prescription. Now, generally, birth control is free with most insurance, and if it's not covered by your insurance, it starts at $15 a month, which is generally pretty affordable. Simple Health is super convenient. There's no more waiting in lines at the pharmacy, no more doctor's visits, nothing. Everything is shipped straight to your door, which is awesome. Simple Health is also affordable and covered by most insurance plans, and if it's not, it starts at $15 a month, and if you use my code KEL, your first prescription fee of $20 is waived. And last but not least, Simple Health is accessible and closing the gap between people who don't have access to birth control and actually getting their hands on it. Back in my day when I was younger and I wanted to get birth control, I was not able to have access to birth control, and I had no idea that there were so many options out there, and I would have wished that I had a service like this when I was younger. So Simple Health is helping cutting down all of those barriers between having birth control and people who need it. Don't miss your chance to try this service for free. My viewers get their first prescription fee waived, which is $20. So head on over to simplehealth.com/kel, K-E-L, and get your whole entire prescription fee waived and start getting birth control shipped straight to your door. So yeah, thank you Simple Health for sponsoring today's video. I truly appreciate you getting the word out there about birth control accessibility. That's super important, and I think very on topic for this week's video. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all your support, and thank you for watching this very important video. It meant a lot to me, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope I got to connect with some of you on something that might be a little bit new and talk to you about some stuff that's really important that I think we do need to have a bigger conversation regarding, why are things the way they are and why do they have to be that way? Can they be better? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.